What's good, my people? Welcome into No Catch-Up Sports Talk via Chicago. I'm your host, Sean Little. Big Nick the Quick with me, as always. Couple things to talk about. We're going to give you a quick 30, 45 minutes here. Belichick was on McAfee talking about potentially taking the North Carolina job. Interesting things he brought up about working the college side. Nick and I are going to go through that, break that down. Juan Soto to the Mets. Crosses town, goes from Bronx to Queens for a cool $765 million. Another landmark deal. I still remember to this day when A-Rod signed that 10-year, $252 to go to the Rangers. We'll talk about that deal, what it means, our thoughts, and overall, man, what does it say about the Yankees? We'll talk about that. NFL, we'll glance over the Bears. We'll glance over everything going on. We wanted to touch on the Eagles' culture. Something's off. For a team to win that many games in a row, is it just A.J. Brown being a diva? Can we just chalk it up as that? Or something off there? No Catch-Up, Sports Talk via Chicago. Let's get to it.
Now look at Mossy. Really? Oh, so that's how you're going to play it. You going to do this? Okay, fine. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that. And it became personal with me.
Big Nick the Quick. What's happening?
How we feeling?
Hey, man, they found our guy in New York, man. They found the shooter.
The manhunt is over.
The manhunt is over. People now can relax. The executives can relax at the crib.
It's safe again.
Safe again. Nothing to worry about. One question before we get to the sports. Why would you keep the gun and the manifesto and the silencer and all your fake IDs on your person while you moving around on the loose?
Listen, man, you're trying to apply logic to someone who just shot someone dead in the middle of the street in Manhattan. It's probably not there. He might have had a couple screws loose, but yeah, he had the whole thing, man. They showed him with the multiple driver's license. He had the ghost gun.
Check my right pocket.
Yeah,
check my right pocket. It'll have my motive right there in there for you guys.
Everything. Yeah, the whole thing.
Yes.
Sometimes I feel like you do something like this and you want to get caught eventually. Like, I mean, he had done a good job overall of concealing himself, but I feel like a part of you, like, you want the recognition.
Ooh.
You want the recognition.
No doubt, the criminals definitely want the recognition.
What do they say about arsonists? Always go back to the fire to watch. Like, that's my work. I want to see this. How dare someone else get credit?
Since it's the holiday season, what my man from Home Alone say? What was he, the Wet Bandits?
Yeah.
He said we got to have a calling card.
The sticky bandits. Was it the sticky bandits or was it the
Wet Bandits? The Wet Bandits.
Is that what it was?
Remember he would overflow the sink?
Yeah.
He's like, you did it again, didn't you?
I need my recognition.
Got to get your recognition. All right, let's get to it. The sports world, what a crazy place. We're going to start with Bill Belichick. Nick flagged this. Something that, well, first of all, a couple things that we've been talking about Bill Belichick was, I hear this pretty frequently, his name come up. And my first thing is, does he still have the 23-year-old girlfriend? If the answer is yes, I don't plan to see Bill Belichick coaching anything in the near future. Bill Belichick doesn't have time for that. If that shit is on the outs and he has got his fix from the young shorty and he needs to get back to football, cool.
Power-up pack.
But if he's still dealing with shorty, I think he's going to have a hard time getting back into the coaching game. It's a grind, man. Too much of a grind for an old fella like that, in my opinion, that has done everything. The coaching, the college thing element maybe is a little interesting.
It makes it a little different. Well, I thought when I first heard about him just getting back in the fold or just in general, I'm like, well, why? I thought he would do the Cowher, Van Gundy thing, where it's
what he's doing right now.
You get on the other side. You're making just as much money doing what you were doing before with coaching, but you're home every day. You have no stress. You don't live and die every single Sunday.
Right.
You're not scouting college kids in frickin' Cincinnati, Ohio on a Tuesday. Like, life is good. He's just in Nantucket. He's a rich Guy. He zooms in for McAfee. He zooms in for the Peyton Manning cast. Doesn't have to leave the house. Life is good. He's old. And what more else do you need to do, right? The only thing I could see him coming back for was maybe he wanted to get that all-time coaching wins thing. But even with that, it's like you're universally regarded as the best coach in NFL history. So why leave? But obviously,
Right.
hey man, that itch needs to be scratched. So news comes out this week. Bill Belichick is potentially looking at the North Carolina Tar Heels head coaching football job.
The Mac Brown route.
The Mac Brown route, the retirement route of going to North Carolina. And obviously I didn't realize he had some family ties there. He's got some family in the area, some connections to the program. Obviously his dad was a college coach. If you know anything about Bill Belichick, I think college has always had a soft spot in his heart. But so yesterday they had him on his weekly appearance on the McAfee show, and McAfee was asking him about it. And I thought Bill was pretty candid about the whole situation and the opportunity. But one thing that he said, and he kind of went on about this for a while, that stuck out to me is he's like, hey, McAfee had kind of asked him, a lot of guys in the NFL are like, I don't want to deal with that college shit. Like, I'm just going to go to the NFL. It's just coaching. And he's like, Bill answered, he's like, if you look at it now, college now is not what college used to be, obviously, right? When you start talking about NIL, you start talking about the transfer portals, you start talking about this salary cap or the revenue sharing model that's going to be coming into play next year. He's like, it is much more like an NFL system.
Wait, what revenue sharing model?
You don't know? You know about this? How they're going to have to start sharing revenue with the players. There was a big decision that came out.
It was a rev share like the pros, like the team.
No. The players are going to get a piece of the pie now.
Yeah.
So Bill was talking about, and he was like, no, what's different now is like these college programs now want NFL guys because NFL guys understand how to navigate this much more corporate business-like structure that college football is like. It's the pros. And he was talking about, the draft is recruiting, right? Obviously the difference is, the kids choose you as opposed to you choosing the kids, but it's the same thing. The transfer portal is free agency. Player valuations and how much they get on this revenue sharing is assigning a value to a player. He's like, building out these huge departments. You talk about Andrew Luck getting hired at Stanford to be this football czar and essentially be a GM and all this different stuff. And he was saying now NFL coaches, it's a much more attractive situation to bring an NFL guy in there because they can navigate that situation. And so when he was talking about that, I just got to thinking, I'm like, you know what? He's 100% head on, right? Like you would want NFL guys. If you're a young up and coming NFL coach, going to college now might be attractive because you can lend some of your expertise having been involved in negotiations or at least being around that world. So I wouldn't be surprised if you start seeing not just on the coaching side, but some of these young execs, right? If I'm a young assistant GM or director of player personnel and a Big Ten team calls me and says, hey, do you want to be our football czar? Do you want to run our program? Like,
you want to be the GM?
Do you want to be the GM? Like, essentially, we need a GM. We need a director of football operations. So I thought it was interesting, and it kind of made it make sense as to why Bill would maybe think about doing that. Because if he goes to North Carolina, he's going to come with a fuck ton of NIL money, right? All the boosters are going to come out the woodwork saying, hey, here's $1 million for this, $1 million for that. So he's going to be able to put together the roster that he wants, and he's going to be able to oversee the whole program like he obviously wants to, right? Without the interference that you might get trying to take some of these NFL jobs. So I thought the whole thing is just interesting that we're here now.
Nick, how far are we away from a rich dude coming in and owning part of an athletic department?
I don't think we're far at all.
Hey, look, how about this? How about I guarantee you guys $50 million a year to athletics, but I own 30% of the athletic department?
Yeah.
Like, how far are we from that?
I think, especially when it comes to football, like I don't think we're too far away from football breaking off on its own. If you look at, the writing is on the wall for football to break off on its own. College football playoff, for those that don't know, is not an NCAA product. The NCAA has absolutely nothing to do with the college football playoff. It is an ESPN and conference product. So they have already shown we don't really need you guys and your structure and your rules. So I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah, maybe you have rich guys coming, hey, I'll buy your football program. This is mine.
yeah,
right?
I'll guarantee your university $100 million a year, but I own the football program.
And the players are no longer students. We're going to get to that point. The players will be independent contractors. Look, this is where we are headed.
It's just going to be like a separate league.
It's going to be a separate league. It's going to be a separate league. And that has
now,
to
I will say this.
Yeah.
This is what the old school people were worried about.
Oh, yeah.
Because, I'm literally since I first started talking into a microphone, we had been saying how the kids need to be getting money. But I will say, the old school conservative purists are gonna say, see, soon as you open this door, we went in a 5-year span, we went from kids getting a scholarship, going to class and playing ball to Bill Gates owns Washington University football program.
The Microsoft Huskies by Washington University.
We went from kids going to get the scholarship to the Microsoft Huskies at the University of Washington.
But my counter to that is what I've been saying all the time. All you had to do was give a little. If you gave a little nibble, people wouldn't be hungry. But when people are hungry, they start kicking down the door. And they kicked down the door. They took it to a court. Any court could look at this and say, yeah, this probably isn't constitutional, probably isn't fair, probably isn't what the United States is about. So how can you tell these kids they can't make money off being who they are? We're going to rip the whole thing down, which is exactly what happened. And now it's a free-for-all. Like, we've talked about this a bunch this year. How many times have we talked about it? This is what happens. We all saw it coming. You fought on everything. Kids couldn't exchange jerseys after a game without it being an NCAA violation. You couldn't get cream cheese on your bagel without it being an NCAA violation. A parent couldn't give you a ride home from practice without it being an NCAA violation. So what do you think happens? People got pissed off. They pushed back. The courts blew it all open, and now it's literally, it is. We talk about it. It is worse than NFL free agency. It's worse than the NFL. There's no regulation. There are no rules. Kids are leaving school in the middle of the week to go to another school because their NIL wasn't fulfilled.
Okay, let me ask you this.
What are we talking about?
Do you think Belichick would do well in this situation?
I think so, yeah. Originally I didn't, but yes, I do think so now because of how much it's changed. And I think your ability to deal with, I think a college coach right now, a kid leaves in the middle of the year and they're freaking out. They don't know what to do. I think the NFL guys have a little bit more experience in that situation and how to handle and how to navigate through it. They understand. You know, this isn't personal. It's all business. I think
it's really interesting. If he goes in there with backing, of course, because then he's going to be able to go get a roster that can compete in the ACC. They're in the ACC?
Yeah.
Football programs in the
Whatever.
ACC, yeah?
Whatever.
Whatever conference.
They're in one of these conferences that it's fucking, who cares?
They're in one of these conferences.
ASU's in the Big 12 allegedly. Who cares? I don't know.
Yeah. It's all changed. But yeah, if he has the backing, I think it would be interesting to see how he would deal with discipline and all that stuff. But
I think discipline is changing.
You know what? Hey, you know what's interesting, Nick? Is that it's a very, for when we talk legacy, it's a way to get your coaching fix and not affect your NFL legacy whatsoever. It's kind of like, hey, I get to coach and I get to do all the stuff that I love to do, but it's like, it was college. I was just trying something new. It's not like it's the magnifying glass is not as heavy and the legacy is not as picked apart as it would be if he were to go to the NFL and then struggle. The Brady talk, all that. This is going to happen.
It's the Brady talk. He can suck there, and it's not going to be like, well, Bill can't win without a quarterback because he's going to be at North Carolina, so it doesn't really matter.
And it's going to be like, and the bar's low there too.
Dog. And he's going to be the fucking man. It's Chapel Bill, North Carolina. Like he will be the man out there. Are you kidding me?
There's talking about courtside at Duke, North Carolina.
What is doing fuck you want?
Yeah.
It's just going to be doing whatever he wants. They're going to get, and he's not going unless he has full control of the program, damn near the university. Like it's going to be a sweet, sweet, sweet deal for sure.
If he goes there, yeah.
Oh, nice house, the whole thing. It'll all be set up for him. It'll be great, and he's just going to focus on football.
And then it's if he and they're not that like my biggest thing is the non-NFL legacy, and the bar is low over there.
It's low.
And the ACC is weak.
Yeah, it's weak. And there's basketball money pouring into that program. There's already money. There's Jordan money pouring in there. They'll do Mike and Bill will be doing things together. It'll be great, man. This is great for Bill. At first I hated it, but the more I thought about it, and then hearing him talk on McAfee about how similar it is now to the NFL, I'm like, this might not be a bad deal. I still wouldn't do it if I was him, but I understand.
Yeah. All right, let's move on to Juan Soto. We're not big baseball guys here, but we are big money guys. You understand what I'm saying? Juan Soto, 15 years, 765, guaranteed fully. Nick,
fully.
The biggest thing, I almost fell out of my seat. They gave him an opt-out after 5 years.
Yeah.
That is unbelievable. He's making $51 million per year, and from age 26 to 31, he can opt out after the 31. He's gonna. So basically,
do you remember when the Yankees did that with Sabathia? He had like an opt out after like 3 years on his Yankee contract, opted out and picked up like another $70 million resigning with the Yankees.
Well, basically,
he was never leaving. Yeah,
he's on a 5-year free roll now.
Yeah,
if he mashes and they win a World Series, I need $70 million per now.
Yeah.
The fact that they gave him an opt-out, because there is a scenario, people, that he was outperforming this contract come age 30, age 31, where it's like he's making $51 million now, and some other Joe Schmo's making 46, and he can't hold Juan Soto's jockstrap, right? But giving him that opt-out after 5, meaning he could stink for the next 5, still make 50, but if he does what he's probably going to do, he could pick up the phone after 5 and say, yeah, Steve, bro, I'm going to need more, period, and restructure that deal. The fact they gave him a opt-out after 5 was mind-boggling to me. Now, the other thing here is, Nick, 16 years, 760 was the offer from the Yankees. So a little less per year, another year on the deal. I don't know if there was an opt-out in the Yankees thing.
Probably.
But it was $5 million short. Eventually, I mean, my guess is Steve said, look, bro, you're not going to outbid me. We could take this motherfucker to $900 million. Whatever y'all want. Cohen is about, he wants to win. He doesn't care about the cheese.
He's a fan of the team.
By the way, I'll give you a perfect example. This is on a way smaller scale, Nick. I went to my first little auction thing recently. And I was bidding on some. You know what? No. It was a fundraiser.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
It was like a
yeah. Sure. Like a silent auction. Yes. Of course.
I'll make it even more relatable for anyone that hasn't been in a live one. Have you ever been in an eBay auction and you're bidding and then someone else outbidding you, and you get this competitive war going on where it's like,
yes,
this dude is not about to beat me for these $30.
Shout out our guy AJ. I do it on Unicorn all the time. It's shit I don't even want, but I'll keep bidding on it because it's competitive.
Yes, you're like, bro, this guy's not going to beat me in this.
Yeah.
This auction. It was no different for Steve Combs. Like, look, bro, they're not going to beat me in this. So whatever y'all want to do, I'm putting the cheese up. Great for Juan Soto. Nick, talk to me. What do you think about the deal? Talk to me about what you think about the opt-out clause. Talk to me about what you think about a guy going, when we're talking about legacy and we're talking about wanting to be the man. You don't go from the Cubs to the White Sox. You don't go from the Yankees.
The Dodgers to the Angels.
You don't go from the Dodgers to the Angels. You don't go from the Yankees to the Mets. You don't do that. You just don't. The history isn't there. You don't go from the Knicks to the Nets. You don't do it when we're talking about big money dollars. I guess Kevin Durant did it a couple years ago. You saw how that worked out.
A lot of people have, but yeah.
But you get what I mean.
Yeah, I understand.
The cachet of these franchises, if you could pick for essentially the same dollar amount, You don't leave.
Yeah.
The Hall of Fame plaques, you want to be there. You want to be with Ruth Jeter, Mariano Rivera. You want to be Mickey Mantle. You want to be with those guys in that Hall of Fame at Yankee Stadium. But you consciously decided to go to the Mets. Talk to me.
Yeah, so I mean, I think a couple things on this. So number one, the 15-year deal, $765 million with the 5-year opt-out. I'm not signing a 15-year contract without an opt-out for the very reasons that you laid down. And we even talked about the A-Rod contract. I think that was, 2003? So about 22 years ago, and that was $25 million per, and that was unbelievable money. Now we're talking about $50 million per 25 years later. So if you're Soto, theoretically, you could look down the line 10 years from now, and you got guys not talking about the 46 to year 51. You might have guys making $55, $60 million a year, and now you're left in that $50 million a year contract on the back half of that. So of course you want to opt out, see if you can grab some more bread. You want to be able to keep up with the market. It's a lot of fucking money.
He almost signed $1 billion deal.
I get the legacy thing as far as from going from the Yankees to the Mets, but this is not your old school Mets, right? Like the Mets have been spending a lot of money in recent years. You talk about the Lindor deal. Cohen has clearly shown that he wants to build a winner there. I think the thing about Cohen that's always stood out is that he's a fan of the team. Like this isn't just a rich guy who bought a team because it was available. He is a Mets fan. He said that from day one, and he has shown that he wants to spend money to try to build a winner there. So I'm not as crazy about leaving the Yankees, especially when the Yankees are Aaron Judge's team. They're always going to be Aaron Judge's team. It's kind of like A-Rod going to the Yankees when Jeter was there. You might be the shiny new toy, but it was Jeter's spot, right? Whereas he can go over to the Mets and be the man, still be in New York City, still have a great life, and still make $765 million. So I get part of it as far as not doing it with the Yankees and not doing it in pinstripes because it's iconic. But at the same time, we left out Lakers Clippers. I think that would be the biggest example going from the Lakers to the Clippers.
That's a perfect example.
Yeah. But yeah, listen, man. Obviously it wasn't about the money. I don't think it was $50 million over 15 years that made him go from Yankees to Mets.
So what is it?
Yeah,
then?
there was something that the Mets told him, because I mean he's coming off a World Series appearance with the Yankees. This Yankees roster is absolutely stacked. There's nothing saying they won't compete again for the World Series next year.
Yeah.
But the Mets is stacked up next year too. So it's kind of like, hey, maybe I liked what the Mets were selling a little bit more.
Cohen had to tell them, look.
Yeah.
Cohen said, look, bro, we're taking this shit we're taking this nuclear.
Yeah, I'm going to spend more money.
I'm going to spend more money every single year.
Yeah.
And the roster's going to be loaded. We're going to go up to the World Series every single year.
You're still in New York City.
Yes. One thing that's been chirped about and talked about was part of the deal with the Mets is Juan Soto's family gets their own box suite for the year, valued at $500,000 a year, corporate box. And the key word is valued at $500,000 a year. That shit's nowhere close to. I guess if you can sell it for that, it is worth that. So maybe I shouldn't say that, but it's not costing the Mets that much and Steve Cohen that. Well, I guess it is if you can sell it for that. But a thing that was coming out about the Yankees deal is that Soto's family wasn't treated very well at Yankee Stadium. Apparently, that was a big sticking point for Juan Soto. Cohen said, "Look, you guys got your own box. Y'all gonna be royalty when you pull up to the ballpark. Oh, you want Soto's family? Come this way, please. Y'all can do whatever y'all want here." And it reminded me of something my guy Jason Hayward told me. We were talking about the Cubs and his experience there and being, winning the World Series and his big deal and dealing with Ricketts, the ownership of the Chicago Cubs. And he always said the Ricketts treat the family of the players on an entire different level. Every other place I've been throughout the league, they haven't treated our family like this. They treat the people that are with me like royalty. People could fly back on the plane. Family could they'd go on road trips. They'd fly back on the plane. They'd be in the locker room. Pre-game, post-game, you walk on the field. You were treated really well. You knew your family was taken care of by Ricketts and the Cubs. And he said, I didn't really always feel that way across the board. And people talk about it around the league, players. Like, I loved my experience with Chicago. They treated my family really well. Some of the stuff that doesn't get talked about enough is, first of all, I remember how you treated my family. Yeah. Number one. Number two, I'm getting a little more money, and I believe what this guy is telling me a little more. Aaron Judge can't hit in the playoffs. Garrett Cole is starting to get up there in age. And I like what this dude is selling me.
Maybe I want to grow a fucking beard.
Yeah, maybe I want to grow a beard. And maybe I want to, exactly. And I got Lindor and the gang over here. I got the Spanish homies over here. Let me go over to Queens and see what's up. And if I bring them a World Series, maybe that legacy is just as long and large. I'm not just one of the guys, Jeter, and the rest of them. I am the guy that brought the World Series to the Mets.
Well, and I joke about the beard thing, and you talk about the treatment of the family thing, but that type of stuff matters. Like when you go, so we start talking about these organizations that are historic, right? If you're going to the Yankees, if you're going to the Lakers, if you're going to some of these teams, they're bigger than you, right? So while you may be Juan Soto, we don't got to treat your family special. You know how many Juan Sotos we've had here? You're the long line of Juan Soto. You're just the newest Juan Soto. We had a Juan Soto 10 years ago. We had a Juan Soto 20 years ago. Reggie Jackson was a Juan Soto. Babe Ruth was a Juan Soto. Mickey Mantle was a Juan Soto. We've had Juan Sotos forever, right? So we don't need to go out of our way.
And there'll be a Juan Soto after.
And there'll be another Juan Soto after you, right? So it's all good. We don't have to break our back as an organization to make you feel special, right? We talk about the facial hair, like little stuff like that. There's less individualism in the Yankees. It's about the pinstripe. It's about the logo. It's about being the Bronx Bombers. It's about carrying on that legacy. Whereas with Cohen might say, no, we do shit differently. We fly first class. Your family flies first class. We got meals. We got shit set up for your kids. We got shit set up for your parents when they come in from the Dominican. We got shit set up for your cousins. We're going to take care of you. This is how we fly. This is the Mets jet, right? Like different things like that. You talk about players talk. You've always heard the jet conversation. There's certain teams that have a reputation. Really in the NBA, you hear it of traveling their players first class. There's teams who don't, right? There's teams who own their own jet. There's teams who charter a jet. And it's a lot different. And all that stuff matters because you're on a road trip in baseball 81 times a year, right? In basketball, 41 times a year. So that type of stuff really does matter. The treatment of the family, again, 81 games a year, you are not, 162. 81 games a year, you are not at home. So how's my family getting treated on the road when I need to worry about going to play baseball, right? How are they getting to the stadium? Is someone picking them up? Are they taken care of? Are my kids comfortable? Is my mom comfortable? Is my dad comfortable? And then again, also, you guys are committed to doing that because you want to show me how special I am to you. Whereas I just spent a year with the Yankees. It was great. It was the Yankees. Walking into the new Yankee Stadium every day was amazing, but I wasn't special. I wasn't the most important guy there. I wasn't even the headline guy there last year. It was all about Aaron Judge, the back-to-back MVP. And then, and if you're the Yankees, it's also like, hey, maybe we won't go that extra $50 million because we've told Judge he's our guy. Now we're giving Judge you an extra $10, $15 million more than Judge. We can't do that. That creates a bad situation. We'll wait for the next Juan Soto. So I think there's a lot of things that play there, but I think you really hit it on. I read when they said that security guard was a little bit overzealous with Soto's family last year. Like, yeah, that stuff does play into it. If his wife is like, hey, I don't really like it over there, you're not trying to hear that for the next 15 years.
I mean, when we're talking about fine margins here. So yeah, I got to decide. People are saying he just took the most money. I
don't think he did.
I don't think he did. I think he believed in the vision of the Mets, what they said, and then you start adding up all these little things of what could be at the New York Mets, and they're giving me a little more money, and they're giving my family a suite. I believe in what Steve Cohen is building out there. They won't give me a statue. How about this? They won't give me a statue outside of Yankee Stadium. If
Are
I
there
do
any
what
there's no statues at Yankee Stadium, right?
if I do what
Yeah.
I could do, they will give me a statue outside of City Field. So big,
Yeah, right.
big, interesting, fun decision from Juan Soto. I will say this: it has ratcheted up the rivalry. I've been just from even being in the office yesterday and people talking about that. I can't wait for his first time back. They're going to be all over him. That Subway series is going to be great. So yeah, shout out White. But number one, first and foremost, salute Juan Soto for getting that big cheese, man.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
Great job.
That's amazing, bro. And I hope he does win the World Series for the Mets. That should be dope. So stay tuned there.
Does Juan Soto speak English?
Enough.
He's able to say yes. They told him that deal.
People forget Juan Soto got a World Series too.
Yeah,
already
with the Nationals.
With the Nats, yeah, he can go. He got one already.
Well, that changes things too.
That does change things a little bit. 100%. I already got one in the low key, so yeah,
I need my money.
I'll try to get another one.
Yeah,
but
I'd rather get wealthy. I'd rather get wealthy.
Let's talk about Philadelphia Eagles. Last 15 minutes here before Nick catches his flight back to the grind. We'll also mesh this into Micah Parsons as well, and that how he's acting with the Dallas Cowboys losing games. But another culture conversation on No Ketchup about NFL teams and locker rooms and what's going on. The Philadelphia Eagles, something is wrong with the culture, guys and ladies that listen. Something is wrong with the culture. Nick, they lose one game, 2 games in a row. Everything is on fire, burning down. They want to fire the coach after 2 games, after a guy that has been a serial winner. If you like him or not, they've been winning.
Nick
lose
Sirianni
2 games.
as a serial winner is strong. I like it. Go ahead.
He's won ever since he took the post as the head coach for the Philadelphia Eagles. But what I'm getting at is the underbelly, the current is ready to ripple at any moment, anytime, no matter what's going on. They lose 2 games in a row earlier this year. Fire him, get him out of here. He's screaming at the Philadelphia Eagles fans in the stands. They run off. Nick, they won 9 in a row?
9 straight.
They've won 9 straight.
They're currently in a 9-game winning streak.
Currently in a 9-game winning streak. There's still issues. They ask A.J. Brown what's going on. They almost lose a game to the Panthers, which, honestly, with how the Panthers and Bryce Young have been playing the last 5 or 6
scrappy Panthers team,
it's not as bad of a close win as it would have been 8 weeks ago. All right? Let's talk about that for a second. Secondly, they come back, get the W. Xavier Leggett dropped a go-ahead touchdown pass that would have put Hurts in the offense in a tough spot. But regardless of that, he did drop it. They did win. And they go in the locker room, and it's not a Chiefs locker room where they're like, we need to be playing better. We're winning, but we know we could play better, and we're going to try to get it together. They walked in the Philadelphia Eagles locker room, and you'd have thought that they were on a 4-game losing streak. They're asking A.J. Brown questions on what could be better. He immediately says the pass game, looks around for the next question. They ask Jalen Hurts, what should we be talking about you and people in the offense being on the same page this deep in the year? No. Doesn't expand on it. It's all negativity coming out of the Philadelphia Eagles locker room. My question to you, Nick.
Well, then, no. Let's add. Then last night, Brandon Green, linebacker on the Philadelphia Eagles, is he on his pod or is that someone else's pod that they ask him the question about what happened? And he pretty much says, Jalen Hurts is trying. A.J. Brown needs to be a little bit more patient with that. They used to be friends. They're not anymore. I'm not sure what happened. Did you hear this?
What?
You didn't hear that? You did hear that, of course.
No.
Oh, that's what I was talking about. That's why I wanted to talk about this.
I just saw the.
Oh, you didn't see? No, Brandon Green goes on the pod yesterday, and they ask him about it, and he calls him by number. So he's like, one.
What do they ask him? They ask him what?
It was something about like what happened with that post game thing with AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts, and he referred to them by number. So he's like, one is out there really trying, and 11 sometimes needs to be a little bit more patient. He goes, I know they used to be good friends. Things have changed, but we can't let that get in the way of what we want to do. It was bad. And he's already walked it back last night. Like, I'm sorry I even said that, but that is what he said. So he pretty much let it out that yes, there's an issue. They used to be friends. Apparently they're not even friends anymore. But we got to get through it. So that's why I'd asked, like, these player podcasts, and are we just getting out of control here? But yeah, that's what happened with the Philadelphia Eagles yesterday. Mind you, again, we are in the midst of a 9-game winning streak. It's not like they just snapped their winning streak. It's not like they just lost. They're in the midst of a 9-game streak. Are you trying to find it?
Yeah, I was trying to find it.
Look up Brandon Green. It's all over. It was all over last night. So
I know one is trying, and 11 could be better with how he responds to things. They were friends, but things have changed.
Yes. I was shocked.
See, but okay. This goes back to culture. The only time I've ever seen a slip up in culture from Mike Tomlin was when Call God AB went on live,
yeah,
after a post game.
Yeah, Mike handled that.
Now, AB is just also a different character. But stuff like this, Brandon Graham saying that's fucking a disaster, by the way.
Brandon Graham, sorry, I was calling him Brandon Graham.
Yeah, is a disaster.
Disaster.
Because now every single interaction, every single missed throw is now going to be diagnosed. And Orlovsky didn't help Jalen Hurts by going pass by pass the other night,
man,
and saying, yeah, he missed AJ here.
No one can escape Orlovsky film breakdowns. I'll tell you that right now.
He missed AJ here. He missed AJ here. He missed AJ here. And I'm sure AJ Brown's at the crib like, yeah, see, I know. I told y'all.
Yeah.
So, but I hate to keep doing this and going back to Detroit. This shit doesn't come out of that culture right now. That's why they're the best team in the NFC. That's why they're the best team in the NFL for me. Amon-Ra St. Brown is paid. He doesn't say a word. He wasn't getting the ball the other night. No one said anything. Shit like this is not coming out of Detroit. It's only coming out of places like the Philadelphia Eagles. The fact that you could be on a 9-game win streak and have a sour relationship between quarterback and wide receiver bubble up like this is the
AJ Brown's been
the evidence
off.
of a bigger issue.
He's been pissed since last year. He's been pissed.
Now I will
you talk
say
about
this.
it. Go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I was going to say, you talk about it doesn't come out of Detroit. Listen, Kansas City, over the past 28 games, Patrick Mahomes could easily be finger pointing at some of the problems with this offense. My receivers can't catch. My blockers can't block. I have to do everything. They could easily have some culture issues with some of the high-profile mistakes that, again, what was it, 29 drops last year? Like, you think they weren't nice that Mahomes was going home and breaking shit? Like, man, I'm putting it on these guys and they can't catch. But it doesn't happen. The culture never faltered. That's why you win Super Bowls. You talk about Tomlin. You talk about AB. There was also Le'Veon Bell on that team. There was also Ben Roethlisberger and his excursions on that team. He kept all that shit. He kept all that shit tight because it is culture. This team is in the midst of a 9-game winning streak, was in the Super Bowl 2 years ago, fell apart last year, but like you said, overall have won an astounding amount in Sirianni's tenure, but it's never felt like anybody's been happy about it. It never felt like this team is together, right? Like they're almost winning in spite of everything that's going on around them. And it doesn't seem like anybody's happy when they do win. So, yeah, I mean, I think you're 100% right. Culturally, it's fucked over there. And if they lose, if they don't win a Super Bowl, they could get to the Super Bowl and lose. It's still going to be toxic in the offseason.
Now, let me tell you this. Let me ask you this. Is this Jalen Hurts' job to figure this shit out? Is this one of those things where, hey, man, first of all.
No, it's the offensive coordinator's job.
Absolutely not. The fucking guy that's making $2 million that just got there.
Well, to figure out how to get the ball to AJ Brown, yeah. But
no. I'm talking about like he hasn't been getting the ball. He's pissed right now as we record this on Tuesday morning. So is it on AJ or is it on Jalen Hurts to go to AJ and figure out what needs to be done? Because it's clear. If you go look at the splits, when AJ Brown is off the field, brother, Jalen Hurts takes a little bit of a dip. Same thing with Devontae Smith and the rest of those guys. Jalen Hurts needs A.J. Brown for a lot of different things. And A.J. Brown opens up a lot of different things for the Eagles. He's one of the only real guys that's still going over the middle and thriving in the NFL. He's a beast. A.J. Brown's a beast. Nick, is it Jalen Hurts' job to pick up the phone, get in the car, go wherever is necessary to be like, yo, let's hash this shit out. Let's talk about what we got to talk about. I'm doing my best to try to get you the rock. Is that Jalen Hurts' job?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, for sure. It's his job. He's the captain. It's his job to get on the same page with A.J. Brown, because if not, it's going to be to the detriment of the team. This is happening in wins now. So, yeah, for sure. It's up to Nick Sirianni. I'll take it a step further. It's up to Nick Sirianni to facilitate that.
Correct.
To facilitate that. So you want to talk about, again, in some of these other organizations where shit doesn't get out, that's because their head coaches are taking care of that. If there's an issue, Mike Tomlin is taking care of that. Andy Reid is taking care of that, right? Dan Campbell is taking care of that, right? These top coaches, these top coaches who run these organizations, John Harbaugh, you name it, they're taking care of those things. That's why you don't hear about these things happening, because it's getting taken. It happens. It happens at every single team across the league. What's going on with the Eagles is not unique to the Eagles. What's unique to the Eagles about it is that we consistently hear about it and we talk about it because their body language is terrible. And every time they get in front of a mic, they tell us that something's wrong. It's the same thing with the Cowboys. Keep telling us that something's wrong. Keep showing us that something's wrong. And we're going to talk about how something's wrong. So, I mean, that's just the way it goes, man. I mean, it's no different. It's just how you handle it, right? This shit happens all over. I'm sure throughout the course of a season, if we were to get an inside look at what actually happens, it would be crazy. It would be crazy. Don't you remember when Iguodala said about the Warriors that year with Durant? He's like, y'all don't even know how bad it actually was. Right? All we saw was the
Draymond thing?
Yeah, all we saw was that Draymond and KD dust up, but it was bad. He said it was bad. It was bad all year.
So much
you had a guy who didn't want to be there. You had another guy who was mad about him not wanting to be there, and he had taken his shine, and it was bad. But guess what? The organization took care of it, and we won in spite of all that. But this type of shit with the Eagles, we keep hearing about it. So to your point, now every single game, every single snap, every single all 22, we're going to be looking at A.J. Brown and seeing how it's going. And that won't help because Sirianni has shown he also can't handle that type of stuff, right? He's the type of guy where, it's just going to be bad.
What were you going to say? He's the type of guy that what? He doesn't want to deal with that?
He doesn't want to deal with that because he's going to be like, we're winning. What do you mean? No. Yes. And he's very defensive and he's very
I'll say this. Philly, and that we know all about that third primetime slot, Big Nick the Quick. Philadelphia Eagles are on that third primetime slot at home versus the Pittsburgh Steelers. Then they got to go to Washington. They play the Cowboys and they play the Giants. So it's not that tough of a stretch here the next 4 games for the Philadelphia Eagles and Jalen Hurts. But
don't drop any games.
You lose that game at home against the Steelers, it just gets magnified so much.
Yes.
That's the issue. So hopefully Jalen goes and handles that and deals with it. And because at first I wanted to write it off as AJ, because this is the sequence I saw it. I saw the game, then I saw AJ's presser first, and I was kind of just like, that's AJ being a diva wide receiver, like he wants the ball more, whatever. But then I saw Jalen and how he responded, and then I started to dig a little bit, and I'm like, this is a culture thing.
That was before you had heard the Brandon Graham thing.
Yes, that's before I heard the Brandon Graham thing. Now I'm like, okay, you guys are winning. God forbid y'all take a couple more L's. But that's what I mean when everything is bubbling up. You win a couple games to start the year. You lose a couple. They want the whole coach fired. Now you win 9 straight, and it's still bubbling up. That's an overall culture thing that needs to be set.
Winning has, I think that's a great point. They lost those 2 straight, have been on a 9-game winning streak, and we still have the same exact questions about them.
No doubt. Really quick, let's talk about, you got a couple minutes?
Like 5.
Okay. 5 minutes for Big Nick the Quick. Let's close it out with Chandler Parsons. Not Chandler Parsons. Micah Parsons.
Talk about contracts.
Shout out Chandler Parsons, man. Let's talk about Micah Parsons. Nick, the Cowboys did one of the most Cowboys things I've ever seen last night was block a punt. They blocked a punt that turned into a turnover. That's almost impossible to do. They blocked a punt and then muffed the punt on the same punt. Really difficult to do. Cincy picks up the muff. They end up going down and scoring and winning. While this is happening, Micah Parsons is on the bench. He's in shock. He can't believe it. He's grabbing his head. He's looking at it. He can't believe.
He's distraught.
He's distraught. Then the game ends. He doesn't shake anybody's hand, and he makes sure everyone sees him storm off the field by himself. And as he's walking off the field by himself, he's distraught once again and walking off the field. Now, I tweeted out, Nick, Micah Parsons acts like he thinks a superstar should act when his team is losing, but something about it to me doesn't feel genuine. The post-game comments, the podcast, the sideline stuff, him walking off the field, all of it. Where are you at? Am I on base? Am I off base?
No, Michael Parsons has rubbed me the wrong way for a very, 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 very long time. I think you're 100% right. I think so much of his is performative. I think a lot of it is, like you said, I want the cameras on me. He's very much a me guy. My daughter would call him a pick me. That's what the kids say. He's that's Michael Parsons for you. Like, I think like the whole. It's like, brother, you guys are like 4-12. You knew your season's been over.
Yes.
You know what I mean? This loss doesn't change anything for you guys. It's over with. It's done. It's dusted. You got Cooper Rush at quarterback. Just pack it in and focus on getting your contract in the offseason. But that's again culture.
It's
bad
like
culture over there. Yeah.
This is what I should do if my team is losing in bad ways.
People look at Michael. Micah just can't take this.
Yes, exactly. It's almost like you can see his head thinking like, man, this is how I should act.
Does this look good?
Yeah, is this what I'm supposed to do? That's how it feels to me. And then he gets on his podcast. Remember earlier in the year, he's like, I think we can compete with anybody. I think we're the best team in the NFC East. And it's like, bro, it's almost like he got bad media training. It's like, who is telling you to say and do all this stuff? You don't have to do all this. Why is
go out
this?
There and play.
Yes, it's like, this is what I think I have to do because I'm the face of the franchise and we're losing. So I better storm off the field. That's what it feels like for Micah Parsons. And I'm on Monday Night Football. I better storm out of here.
Cameras are going to be all over me.
Furious.
Towel over the head. Yeah.
I better act like I care so much about the Dallas Cowboys and what's going on that everybody knows I will not stand for this.
I'm disgusted.
That's what it feels like when I see Micah Parsons and what he's been doing. So, man, the Cowboys are in a bad spot.
Mess.
They got an owner that thinks he could be the GM. They have a quarterback that is built to deal with all the bullshit that comes along, but now he's taking up an enormous amount of the cap.
And also, if you're the Cowboys, why are you not playing Trey Lance? Like,
Yeah,
why
I
not?
don't really
What's
get
the
that
point
either.
of not seeing what you have there? You traded a 4th-round pick for him or 5th-round pick, whatever it was. Like, your season is over with. Why not see what you have or at least build up his value to move him in the offseason? What's the point? What are we doing with this Cooper Rush thing here?
Yeah, maybe Mike McCarthy believes that Cooper
Mike
gives him
McCarthy
the
is not
best.
Mike. Yeah, if you believe that Mike McCarthy is calling that shot, then
Well,
gonna fucking
but
beach
yeah,
house
but
in
yeah, I
Miami
guess
for you.
they don't want to lose games. They want to win, regardless of if it's that messes up draft capital or what it does. So yeah, I don't know, man. It's a mess over there in Dallas. They got to get that sorted. But
We'll see.
oh, and give me hey, I got here's a quick. We're gonna give y'all a quick 30 seconds on the Bears. If
Who cares?
I wasn't shocked at all.
No.
We talked about Thomas Brown was a pass game coordinator a month ago. A month ago. Now he's the head coach. Yeah, they went to San Francisco and got dusted off.
Yeah.
After the Niners have been getting smacked, and Kyle Shanahan has been in the news about how he should quit and lose his job and get fired. Yeah, they showed up and busted a team that organizationally and structurally is all over the place. So I'm not shocked. I'm not worried about Caleb. Caleb could go 0 for the next 95 passes. Get him a new coach. I'm already looking at next year. I'm not worried about what's going on the rest of these next 4 to 5 games. Figure out the direction you want to go. Pick the right coach. That's the only thing that matters. Pick the correct head coach for the Chicago Bears next season, period, point blank. I don't care about anything else.
Easy.
Retweet that.
Yeah. There's nothing else to add to that at all. No, and pick the correct offensive line. How about that?
Yes.
Draft lineman. Ryan Poles. Draft lineman.
Pick the correct head coach.
Yep.
Rumbles out of Hallis Hall that Ryan Poles didn't know this power dynamic was going to be at play and is frustrated with it. We could talk about that as more.
I haven't heard that. Is that what?
Yeah.
Is that what? Yeah. Well, yeah. He got neutered at the press conference last week. So yeah.
Reports coming out. So stay tuned there. For Big Nick the Quick, I am your host, Sean Little. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. Subscribe everywhere. Tell a homie to tell a friend to subscribe. Pass the link. You know how we do. For Big Nick the Quick, I am your host, Sean Little. Lock in with us. No Catch Up Sports Talk via Chicago. We'll see y'all next week.